welcome back to the Football Terrace. I'm Terry Flewers. Jadon Sancho's mind is set on Manchester United. He has his heart set on a move to Old Trafford this summer. Reports coming out of Germany this morning tell us that a fee between Manchester United and Dortmund has been agreed to. The only remaining factor is agreeing the payment terms. As we all know, the majority of transfers are paid with a lump sum deposit up front and the remainder paid in installments over the lifetime of the contract the player signs. It is said that Jadon Sancho is going to sign a 6-year deal with Manchester United, likely to be structured as a 5-year deal with an option for Man United to extend if they feel necessary. It will be £250,000 per week for one of the brightest young talents in world football. This is big news. We know that Dortmund are out of the title race. We know Dortmund are already out. There isn't a title race anymore over in Germany. It's over. It's settled. They're out of the Champions League. There's nothing to play for. He was on the bench yesterday. The reason given to us from the German media is that he's not in the game anymore. His head isn't at Dortmund. He wants to be a Manchester United player. We've seen Timo Werner get done. It's close to Chelsea signing Kai Havertz. Are Manchester United next when it comes to Jadon Sancho? I want your views. I want your opinions on this, ladies and gentlemen. It is massive news. It is big, big news in football at this moment in time. Jadon is an absolute superstar talent. Absolute superstar talent. It really, really is. And I'm excited to see this come through. We saw the reports last night on the United stand talking about the first part of this deal where his heart and his mind is set on United. In fact, it's almost like he's living the Man United dream and he isn't here yet. I think that's how some of us feel as fans as well. There's that element of, it doesn't feel like we've signed him, but he gets spoken about so much. The links are so strong. The journalists that are talking about this are so convinced that this deal is going to happen, or Man United are close to landing it, that it kind of feels like he's a player already. And all we need now is for Ed Woodward to get this done. The agreed deal is said to be in the region of £100 million. Now, the first question I want to pose to you all is this. Is Jadon Sancho, in your opinion, worth £100 million? I know that a lot of people say, I don't care how much it costs. It isn't my money. Let's just get it done. But from your point of view, do you think that's a sensible amount of money to spend on a player who, by the way, has a 117% goal contribution to game ratio in his professional league career? Phenom. Absolute phenom. Absolute phenom. And as soon as this payment structure gets agreed between Manchester United and Dortmund, that is when we are likely to see an announcement made. The only sticking point to this is the fact that United have had deals stall before in this process. Man United have tried. You look at the situation when it comes to Harry Maguire. The fee was pretty much agreed to, but Man United was simply trying to pay this thing in installments, and Leicester didn't budge. United then went on for weeks and weeks and weeks trying to get something done via installments. It was only when Manchester City showed genuine interest in Harry Maguire that United decided to bow down to the demands of Leicester City and pay the money in the lump sum that they wanted. So that's what could slow this deal down. But if Dortmund agreed to the payment structure, and if I was Man United with £240 million sitting there in cash reserves, I would maybe look at a sort of £50 million lump sum up front, which is more than we'd want to spend. And then the remaining 50 million maybe paid over the first 3 years of the contract. Go in at that level, get this deal done, get it agreed. Because I tell you what now, Man United looked good the other night, but we know we need somebody on that right-hand side of the attack. At some point, Mason Green was going to move in centrally. He has to move in centrally. He's too talented to stay out wide, and we'll need someone to fill that void. I want your views, though. I want your opinions on this. Cedric here said £100 million is a bargain. It is. It's a huge, huge bargain. It's a huge, huge bargain. It truly is for a player like him. You know, everyone knows my opinion on Jadon Sancho, and that isn't going to change. That isn't going to change at all. If he joins another team, I will still rate Jadon Sancho. He is a top player. So well said there, Cedric. Let's go to a few things here. Let's go to a few more comments here, see what people are saying. Dean here says, if you need him, he's worth it. We need him desperately, in my opinion. That's also part and part. I mean, how many other players are there out there at his level that would be significantly cheaper? When you think that Wilfred Zaha, who, by the way, I haven't checked this, but I'm having a little guess here. I think Jadon Sancho this season has probably scored. Let's go and have a little look. I think Jadon Sancho in his 18-month career I think he's outscored. I'd almost be certain that he has outscored and out-assisted Zaha in his entire career. Let's just go and have a little look at this. I'm just typing it in now. We'll go and have a look. And I don't even mean it salty. I don't even mean it in a salty way. But there's a reason that I'm bringing Zaha into this, and it isn't because I dislike him. I think he's a decent player, but there's a reason for it. So let's just. I'm having a look here at Jadon Sancho. So this season alone, 20 goals and 20 assists in 43 games. You've got Zaha, who's played 31 games, and he's got 3 goals and 5 assists. But let's just look at Zaha's career deep. Zaha's been playing football since 2009, right? Zaha has been playing football 10 years, okay? You compare that to Sancho, who, of course, hasn't been playing for 10 years, right? So Jadon Sancho's career is 58 goals and 54 assists. You compare that to Zaha, who, by the way, has played 126 games in the championship. In 374 games, has 57 goals and 71 assists. However, if we were to actually look at it by competition, and we just look at this from an elite point of view, okay, and we go into this and we just break it down and we say, okay, well, we'll go into all seasons for a moment. Let's break this down a minute. Let's filter this down and say, look at what he's done in the Premier League career. And then we do the same thing for Jadon, and we look at his league career. So we look at the Bundesliga as an example. Wilfred Zaha has played 207 games at the highest level across 2 clubs. Okay. He's got 35 assists and 39 assists and 38 goals. In 77 games, Jadon's on 30 goals and 38 assists. Point I'm making is Zaha's market value is in the region of 70 to 80 million pounds. So 100 million pounds for Jadon Sancho is a snip, absolute snip. It really, really is. Absolutely is. Let's do a few more comments on here. Let's do a few more of your comments here. Zaha's a better signing. Not for me, my friend. Not for me. I respect why some people think that. I respect why some people feel that, but not in my opinion. Do me a big favor if you haven't done so already. Please hit the like button. Please hit the share button as well. Very, very important to the platform here that we get that done. It truly, truly is. Claude here, Claude's channel. Thank you for members. Thank you. Says this signing will take you into the top 3 next season. And I think that's why there's a lot of salt. I think that's why there's a lot of anger from non-Man United fans. I think that's why there's a lot of negativity towards this potential deal, because everybody knows what it could maybe do for Man United. I think that's the big point. There is a fear of, we saw how good United looked the other night. Rusty, but we saw how good they looked. You know, 2 shots from a shot from Mason and a shot from Bruno just went narrowly wide. You know, a great save pulled off by Hugo Lloris. Potential penalty towards the end that was probably rightfully overturned, but you know, millimeters. You know, if Bruno was half an inch closer to Eric Dyer, he goes straight through him, and we would have got a penalty. You know, there was 3 or 4 openings. You know, Martial's blocked opportunity. Rashford's header that he was about to trigger. I actually thought Rashford missed it, and I watched the highlights back yesterday. Ben Chilwell takes it away from him. There was all these little moments. You know, the opportunity that fell to Rashford that was United had chances. And when you consider how rusty we are, like everybody, we were the away team. You know when this team finds its feet, and you know by adding Jadon Sancho, there's going to be fear in people's eyes. James here says, Terry, is this what we need? Starting James all the time has been too much for him, and now with Sancho coming in, we can add more pace and attack. Listen, James, Daniel James isn't ready for me to be a starter at this level. I don't know if he ever will be. He was an £18 million signing. I think if he plays a rotation role at United for 5 years, scores 5 to 8 goals a season, gets 5 to 8 assists a season, comes on to counter-attack against a lot of the sides in the last 10 minutes if we're leading games, 20 minutes if we're leading games, that'll be a really successful career for Dan James. Is he in the same ilk, the same level of quality as the Martials, Rashford, Sanchos, Pogba, Brunos? No. Is he better than Lingard and Pereira at what he does? Yes. We just need better. You know, he is. Look at Liverpool. They've got Shaqiri. He's a good player. If Shaqiri was a starter for Liverpool, they wouldn't be as good as they are now. Doesn't mean he isn't a good player and isn't required in their squad. One, he obviously helps massively in training, and he's done okay in his sort of 2 years at Liverpool. You know, he's been that bit part. And I think that Dan James probably would be happy with that. Is he going to get into the starting lineup of another sort of a genuine top 6 side? Maybe Leicester. Other than that, he isn't good enough to elevate teams to the next level. He may grow into that, and that'd be great, but we need better. Because I don't want people always continually hating on Dan James simply because he isn't good enough. Because him not being good enough isn't the problem. Not buying somebody. Did I say Ben Chilwell? It's Ben Davis. I'm very, very sorry. Ben Chilwell in my head. I was reading about him this morning. Let's do a few more. Billy T here, another one of our members. Remember, super chats and members, get your comments read out. If you want to become a member, hit the join button right now. Billy T says, I hope United gets Sancho, but won't believe the reports until he's holding the jersey. Tomorrow's tabloids will probably say staying at Dortmund. It changes every day. Listen, bro, I hear that. But we remain consistent on this channel. I've said the whole time that we'll see this circus flipping around. What I believe, though, is that there'll be a difference, and always felt there'll be a difference after the Bundesliga was settled. And this is where negotiations will start. Man United are the buying club, so we're not really being distracted. If Jadon if Jadon's telling them, look, my head ain't here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. They're going to have to look to get it done. Remember, they want 130 million euros. Yes. They're telling us publicly they're waiting to, we'll see it out till next year. We'll stand our ground until next year. Nah, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced because he goes into the last year of his contract at the beginning of next season at 21 years of age. His value is going to drop dramatically. And then if nobody comes, if they still hold out, come January 2021, which is only 18 months away, United could sign him for free. You know, if we wait an extra year, you know, and I put, it's 2 years, you know, great. We're not going to be held over a barrel here. Once he goes into that last year of his contract's gone. So let's wait 18 months. It wouldn't be ideal. Maybe we can fill the position. And then we don't have to sign him for £130 million. Dortmund are not going to do that. Their business model needs them to sell their players for big money, and they will cash in. There's no doubt about that in my mind. What we're going to do now, ladies and gentlemen tuning in, if you go into the description, adding it now. Sorry, I've got to look down because the keyboard's out of my direction. If you refresh in just a moment, you can call in the show. I'll put the StreamYard details in if you want to call in, if you want to come and have your say about this. Cedric here says Dortmund have one more game and their season is complete. It's time to deal. Yeah, I agree. Dwayne here says, do you reckon Sancho will get fed up with all the speculation and hand in a transfer request? By the way, happy Father's Day. Thank you very much for that. He might get frustrated. I don't know. I think it's already happening, though. A lot of the reports that have come out of Germany have also suggested that Dortmund are getting frustrated with his behavior. Now, look, I keep the same energy. I don't like... Well, you know, when Paul Pogba said he fancies a new challenge, I didn't like that. I thought it was unprofessional. But I've had a lot of time to reflect on that over the past. It's been sort of nearly 12 months since he did that. And I've had a lot of time, like other people have, to reflect. And you just think, well, I hate it when Pogba does it, but I'm supportive of Jadon Sancho doing it. Why? Because I want Jadon Sancho to be a Manchester United player. So I'm very, very happy for him to do whatever he has to do to come to Man United and impact our team in the right way. We're going to jump into some calls here and see what people have got to say. Football Terrace over the toxic stand. Terry living rent-free in Mark's head. Listen. I kind of get that you're complimenting me in that comment. But what I don't want anyone here, if you rate my channel, if you rate this platform, what I don't want us to do here is behave like other channels and spend time slagging other channels off, people off. And I'm not even talking about the United stand in general. You know, I've seen a lot of Arsenal channels all at each other's throats. It's not about that here. You know, I'm not saying Mark's even mentioned my name. I don't know if he has or he hasn't. Either way, I'm really not bothered. Let's not create problems here, right? We're all football fans. We're YouTubers, different levels. You know, they're one of the kings of this game. So I've got no issues with the channel, no issue with the platform. If they have issues with me, great. I'm not going to retaliate. And I don't want anyone who watches me and rates me to do the same. Let them be. Let us be. Let's move forward together as a collective. And let's say no more about it. I just jump into some of these calls. This is a great one. I haven't spoke to this guy in a while. Every day, same. He's going to be joining us now. Let's go. You know, they're one.
Hello.
I've got no issues with the channel, no issues with the platform. Hang on, mate. Sorry, we've got playback coming through. I'm not sure if you've got something playing in the background.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. There we go. Lovely. I mean, what's your reaction to this news? Yesterday, Jadon Sancho is on the bench. He's heads at Man United. The speculation this morning that a fee is close to being agreed or has been agreed. The structure's being looked at. Do you think he'll be a Man United player and is £100 million cheap for a player of his quality?
Luke Skywalker is too important to us to even think that he's going to join us. We just can't do it. We've been hurt before, once bitten, twice shy. And like I said, his name's not Jadon Sancho. It's Luke Skywalker because he's the only one that can bring balance to the force. I cannot remember a player that this level of importance. We've missed out on big players before, but if we actually want to catch the teams that are above us, this is the guy. He's called Luke Skywalker, and that's it. You know, if we get him, you know, then we can all scream and shout and have a party. But I can't even speculate. I don't want to speculate. I'm not going to get gas. Nothing. It's just let's hope we get him. If we get him, it's all good in the hood.
Mate, yeah, I get that. You know, for me, I love the speculation. It's my favorite. It's my favorite stuff. Like people get I get very invested in the transfer market, but equally, I know the pitfalls. So we are close to landing this player. For me, that's a cast iron fact. There's too many credible experts that have said that. But I also know because I've worked in the sphere that this transfer market is in, that it can change with the click of a fingers. I remember once upon a time getting a call from a player liaison officer at Arsenal because the guy that looked after Arsenal in my old team was away on annual leave. So it came through to me. It was literally a case of, I can't tell you who, but there's a player who's going to be signing in the next 2 days. And we just want to make sure we want you in as soon as possible to get get the accounts, get the credit lines, help get these things done so we can get them in their apartment, all this sort of stuff that we used to do. And we knew who it was. We kind of knew who it was. We knew that it was going to be Thomas Lemar because the rumors were, is it Thomas Lemar? And it'd be like, I can't tell you that. You know, they'd never say, but they would. And then at the 11th hour, it's like, yeah, can we cancel the meeting now? And I was like, oh, wow. And it was because they just thought the player was going to say yes. It was pretty much all lined up. Everything was agreed to. But then the player had a change of heart because Arsenal, they got it wrong. They left it too late in the transfer window, and he basically decided that I don't trust you because you didn't show the trust in me. So these deals, the clubs can think they're done and they're agreed to, and at the last minute they can fall apart. So I totally get your point of not allowing yourself to believe it's going to happen, because Sancho could be sitting on a medical table and then suddenly Liverpool put a £100 million bid in and he says, oh, actually, that's a better move for me now. And it could fall through. So I totally get that. But if he does come, I mean, you're calling him Luke Skywalker. If he comes, how much better does this Man United become overnight?
This is that's a great question, right? Because people are saying, you know, obviously we get Jadon Sancho, his record speaks for itself, but it's all, the reason I call him Skywalker is because of the balance. So the balance that he will bring to the team will cause like a synergistic connection. We won't get just his goals and assists, we will get an improvement through the whole team in the way that we've got it from Bruno. So it's like, and that's why it's so important. I mean, let me ask you, Terry, can you think of any player that has the potential to be this important for the club? Because I can't. I really can't.
No, I'm in that train of thought as well, and I put it down to a few things. His outputs are absolutely astounding for a young player. He plays in the position that we're so weak in. He has the fluidity in his game. Yeah, exactly. He has the fluidity in his game to drift centrally, to drift to the left when we need him to, and he's still potent. So, I'll give you an example. Eden Hazard, we know how amazing he is on the left. We know he's amazing. But whenever he got moved centrally, every Chelsea fan I know would be like, oh, he just doesn't perform there. He isn't as good there. Sancho, when you look at the way he operates, he's as devastating from the left as he is the right, meaning you've got that fluidity. And the third area that I think is amazing about Sancho, and why I would prefer him to any other player from the continent who's in that position, he grew up playing football here. The notion of can he handle English football, sort of the cold Tuesday night in Stoke, of course he can. The same way I knew Pogba would be able to play at this level, because he came through the academy system here. So he'll have an understanding. It isn't going to be new. The fourth reason is, it's not like Manchester. Living in Manchester is going to be a culture shock for him. So I think he's the complete package. He's as close to a guarantee of a performer as you can get. Dave joined the show here. Hello, morning, David. What's your view on this news? And I know you're a Chelsea fan and you've got some big players coming your way. But what kind of ripple effect do you think Jadon Sancho will have on the Premier League for Manchester United if the deal goes through?
If the deal goes through, there's potential that next year we could potentially have 4 teams with potential to win the title. We could have like Liverpool and City as the clear favourites, but then like Chelsea and United as the dark horses. Because if we get our signings through and and we can actually perform to the required level, it could be really interesting.
I agree. I agree. Every day same. I mean, just to talk Chelsea for a minute. I mean, they're on the cusp of signing some ballers. Do you think Chelsea could be a force next year, or are you not so worried about them?
I don't know, because like it's going to be Lampard's second year, is it? So he's learning all the time. They've got fantastic players. I mean, their midfield is fantastic. I think they may need somebody in defence. But other than that, they're creating a meritocracy there, which is going to be, and they've got the, I don't know what it is about Chelsea, that they never fall kind of too far away anyway. So with the influence of 2 new fantastic players, coupled with who they might also get, because they probably will go and capitalize rather than take advantage of the coronavirus financial situation in football and get somebody else. So I mean, the Premier League is great. I mean, it's like, there's no easy games. Obviously, only a handful of teams can win, but I think it's just going to drive up the consistency. It's going to drive up the level of football, and it's just going to be good for the fans. It's just going to be really good. So I'm not one of those people that worry about other teams. I just want to worry about my own team. So Chelsea are going to be there, and we look forward to it. We look forward. Sport is like, all sport is just a group of human beings pushing another group of human beings to do better. So bring it on. Let's see it.
I get that, and it is important to focus on your own stuff. There's a comment here that says Terry knows people. It's 7 months ago since he first did a Sancho to United video. Well, it's interesting that, because I was away on business in December, and it was by chance I bumped into an old colleague. I say old colleague. I did some contractual work for a sports consultancy, and we were just having a little chat. And he said, "Oh, you'll be interested in this. That Man United have spoken with Jadon Sancho, and he's changed his mind from the summer, and he's willing to join the football club." And that's pretty much all things were at in December. And I just got a bit giddy, and I tweeted about it, and I said something like, "It will happen." And my Twitter just went crazy. I just going, "Who's this guy? Does he know anybody?" And I obviously got a lot of abuse from rival YouTube channels making it up and whatnot. And I just said at the time, let's see what happens come the summer. Man United since December have been told that Sancho wants to join you. And a lot of this stemmed from his conversations with United players at in the England squad around and it was one of those reasons why, and I know I was very angry towards, I wanted Ollie out because my mind wasn't where it needed to be, but it was almost a starting point where I was sitting there thinking, players are advocating joining. And if a player of Sancho's level is now willing to come, that tells me something good is being built behind the scenes. Because if it was toxic, and if it was a PE teacher football, and it was this nonsense that's thrown out by United fans of freestyle football, there's nothing being worked on behind the scenes. What's happening now wouldn't be happening. It just wouldn't. There's no way Jadon Sancho goes, what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave Dortmund. I'm going to turn down every other top club in Europe, and I'm going to go and play for a manager who literally just has us running around cones with a whistle, like I don't know if you've seen this, David, because you might not be old enough to. Did you watch a film at school called Pez?
Called what? Pez?
Kez.
A kestrel for a name.
No.
Yeah, there's
Never heard of it.
A kid finds a kestrel and he learns. But there's a scene where I don't know if he's the PE teacher or the headmaster, but he's the PE teacher in this scene, and he plays football with the kids, and he puts on like a Bobby Charlton kit. But he's like, if a kid like takes him on as an example, he'll blow the whistle and say it was a foul when the kid just twined him up type thing, right? And that's my point. If you're saying Ollie's that guy, and if anyone watches the film cares, you'll get the reference. There's no way Jadon Sancho is joining. But do I know people? I know a few people that work in the football industry. Do I claim 99.999% of the videos we do are me reading media speculation? The Jadon Sancho one was different. And I literally went out and said I was told United have not agreed personal terms, but have been told by the player that he wants to join in the summer. And it looks like that could be happening. Dave, a question for you on the money. £100 million. Is that too much? Is it enough? Is it a bargain? What's your view?
It's based on his past 2 seasons. It's a bargain. However, I would like to add he has been playing under Lucien Favre, who's a really attacking manager, and I'm not sure how those numbers will translate back into the Premier League with Ollie as a counter-attacking manager. That's my personal thing. That's always been my thing. Whenever you move from a manager to a manager, it's always a bit different. If you're moving into similar systems, then
yeah, that's a valid point. But if you get Jadon Sancho, then we're not the soft touch club that all you have to do is stop Pogba and overload the left. This is what I mean when I'm talking about balance. It creates a whole different kind of scenario for us. And the thing is, we have Bruno in the team who's already doing 100% goal contributions. And even if Jadon's numbers drop down 25%, being conservative,
he's still ridiculous for you.
Player that's going to create, and it's not just him; it's what he's going to do to the rest of the team. If he's in our team, if we've got Pogba, Bruno, Rashford, Sancho, it's ridiculous.
I know. I came on yesterday and was like, when I saw Pogba, Bruno, I like instantly you could tell they're decent together. However, again, I'm bringing this up. I'm a Chelsea fan. Bruno Fernandes is very overrated. I'm just saying it now.
100%. Okay.
He's overrated.
Okay, well, if overrated is 100% goal contributions, let's get. I want overrated players. I want overrated players, please.
But 3 penalties and a goalkeeper mistake. That's all I'm gonna say. 3 penalties and a goalkeeper mistake. He's got 4 goals. 3 of them are penalties. 1's a goalkeeper mistake.
People miss penalties all the time. 100%.
Yeah, I'm not counting it against it. I'm just saying, like,
no, but you can't say anything about
from open play. He's just not as good. I think he's more of like your dead ball. I think he's like an improved Gylfi Sigurdsson, if you get what I mean. Because Gylfi Sigurdsson, dead ball, fantastic. Yeah. On the ball, he's good, but he's not like,
Does Gylfi Sigurdsson elevate a team? Does he elevate a team?
Oh, he elevated Swansea and Everton for
elevate the whole team.
No, not the whole team. Probably not. Maybe just the midfield, or he just makes you more threatening. He just makes you more threatening.
All I'm saying is Bruno elevates the team, and he's got 100% goal contribution. So if that's overrated, can I have if not 11? Can I have 26 squad overrated players, please?
You know what I would say is this as well, and I always mean this from a. I try to my best to sort of be consistent with this sort of stuff. The penalty argument always frustrates me. I'll tell you as to why. Like Frank Lampard, how many Premier League goals does he have in total? I'm just checking.
Like 200, I think it's 247.
No, he got 247 Premier League goals.
No, not 247. It's like 200 and...
No, in Premier League goals.
Just Premier League. Sorry, just Premier League. I keep thinking his whole level.
Yeah, just Premier League is 177 goals, which is amazing. But would you be willing right now? Would you be willing right now for the Premier League and Chelsea to scrap 45 of them away because 45 of them were penalties? Are you happy to lose 45 of them?
No. What I'm saying is with Bruno, right, is that it's not that I'm counting it against him. I'm just saying from open play, I don't think he's as big of improvement as you think he is.
And that's cool.
I think for you, Pogba's better.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What part of his game is he not good at?
I think he's just good at everything, but I think Pogba's your main guy and then Bruno's under it. No, I think he's just those players who are just good at everything. Like I think he's good at everything and he's good at
boys. What I would say is this with Bruno Fernandes. There's things I saw him doing against Tottenham. There was 3 times in the game where he did, I call it the Gaza, where he was flicking balls over people's heads. Like you do that in those games. You see a little combo in the middle of the park where Pogba lays it down to him, he controls it and then knocks it over a player. Like that's just brilliant. And look, you can say he's overrated all you want, but for me, just like Everyday Sam has said, if that's overrated, give me 11 of them. Give me 12 of them. Give me 15 of them.
I understand your point. I just think that he's like.
This is the reason why. Someone said, mate, 1 second. Sorry. This is why penalties are important. Because if you a lot of people say Frank Lampard's better than Paul Scholes because he scored 70 more goals in the Premier League than Paul Scholes did, but 45 of them, so well over half of them, were penalties. Now I don't think it should be discounted because the reason why Paul Scholes didn't take the penalties is because he wasn't Man United's best penalty taker. As an example, Lampard shouldn't have his goal tally artificially reduced because he was his club's best penalty taker. That means you're penalising somebody for an attribute. Like. I know people like, an attribute that scouts mark when they're assessing players is their penalty ability. It's a little attribute. So taking it, saying, we shouldn't count their goals because they're good penalty takers is the most stupid. It's like saying, someone's the best free kick taker ever in the world. Well, yeah, but the midfielder I'm comparing him to is rubbish at free kicks. So if we minus everything that someone's great at and someone's rubbish at, you're just left with loads of average players in the middle. It don't make any sense.
I'm saying is,
flawed logic.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing against him. What I'm saying is I think he's on a wave where you look at his goals and his assists and you go, oh yeah, but when you look at where the goals are from, it's like penalties and a goalkeeping mistake. Those are his 4 goals from Man United have been 3 penalties and a goalkeeping mistake. I think he's good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's your second best midfielder. However, I think he's on a wave. And he'll still be. You remember the other day when I was saying, if you aim for the Champions League final, if you aim to win the Champions League and you get knocked out in the semi-final, it's still good. But because you're expecting so much, you'll be disappointed. That's what I think Bruno is. I think he's very good, but he's not as good as you're all rating him right now.
I just disagree. I just disagree with that in the sense of he's phenomenal. If you watch the game again, the passes, the opening, even he didn't score an open play. But you're talking about everyone's looking a bit rusty. Every game I've watched so far, there's rustiness there. This boy's gonna bang. He's really gonna bang. And the pass through to set Martial up for that, what should have been a goal. Some people say it's basic. Well, if it's so basic, why have Man United not done it until Bruno got in the team? It's genuinely good. Boys, I'm gonna jump onto a few more calls before we end it. Thank you both for coming on. Dave, quality as usual, every day. Same. Nice to chat again, my man. Take care, boys. Thank you. We're gonna throw elite opinions on here. Elite opinions. Jadon Sancho to Man United. What are you saying?
I mean, David, poor guy, man. I wanted to help him out there. He was producing some great points until you two just absolutely ganged up on him. He was producing absolute facts there. I thought Bruno was rated finally until I heard he actually pulled out stats. And then I realized, wow, he's overrated. Jeez, he's overrated. Four goals. Granted, a goal is a goal. Fair enough, yeah. But the fact that I see where he's been overrated is where the media... I'm already seeing him in BBC Sports Team of the season already. He's already in the team season in Premier League when he's been there for 6 months, and he's had 6 to 7 games of Premier League football. I mean, that's what you call overrated. I'm sorry.
Do you know what's interesting? The team of the year thing is people bantering, and that's, by the way, it also demonstrates why these season awards are BS, because they're so easily they're public votes, they're easily manipulated, and we've already heard hundreds of players come out and confirm that half the squad don't even take the voting system seriously. So anyone that gets in Player of the Year or wins Player of the Year or gets in Team of the Year, it's a completely hollow achievement. What I would say about Bruno is this, and I know we've gone on to Bruno when we're talking about Sancho, but this is where the people that make me laugh that call me a stat merchant. I look at the stats to rate a player, there's no doubt, but I also look at the influence and the palpable difference in Man United from the games prior to him signing and after him signing are there. And it may not always be him who is playing the cutting edge pass. It may not always be him who is scoring the winning goals or getting the assist. For me, it's the way he elevated and lifted that team. And, you know, we look at Liverpool, the best team in the world right now. What Van Dijk did for them, in my opinion, wasn't just make them better in a defensive system. He elevated the rest of the team. I feel like his inclusion gave everybody the confidence that was needed. And by the way, Pogba's an even higher level to that of Bruno. When Paul Pogba came on the other day, Man United, it was like the flicking of a switch. It was like turning on like a Hoover. You go from nothing to everything in a few moments. It was 0 to 100 miles an hour in a split second, and that's what those players do. And we've seen a snippet of what Man United are capable of, and I think it's sending some worries. Final point, I've got to go. So I know I've got other callers waiting, and we're not going to have time to speak to everybody. I'm really, really sorry. But elite opinions, if Sancho joins Man United, is that guaranteed top 4 title push? What's your thoughts?
Look, if Sancho goes, I rate Sancho high. I've said it before, I rate Sancho so highly. I rate him above players like that come into the Premier League, like Ziyech, Werner. I rate him above all of them. I rate Sancho very highly. I think if he goes to United, definitely top 4 secured. You could push for a title depending on how the levels of Liverpool drop, knowing their players all hitting their peak this season or entering like the decreasing years. But then I'm seeing 100 million plus for a 20-year-old who's had one really, really breakout season. I mean, that tells you all have to be out of market, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the market, what people have to understand about the financial market is football fans don't understand it, and that's why they get, he's had a breakthrough season, he's really worth that amount of money. Everything that rolls into that, it's the commerciality, the marketability of the player, the value that he's worth, and then
English.
Yeah, well, it's not. See, people throw that out, and it becomes a bit of a poison. Oh, because he's English. Well, it's because he's sellable. He's sellable to the English and the international market, and it's our national sport. There are multiple people have got to understand. There are tens of millions of fans of Premier League football who don't support a Premier League team, and they're fans of the Premier League because they're England fans. So there's a vested interest. You know, there are image rights things to be coupled into this. You know, if he becomes successful for England at the same time as Man United, he's already a global superstar. It moves him on to the next level, and Man United will capitalize financially. Thus, Dortmund want their cut in that now. It's why at the time I felt different positions and they play a different style. But I don't think there's any difference between a Verratti and a Paul Pogba. Just so I reiterate this, different positions and they do different things. But I'm talking position for position and role for role. I think they're both like two of the best in the world. Amazing. But the reason why Paul Pogba will always be worth double that of Verratti, no matter what's going on, is because Verratti's known and he's respected, but he's not a superstar. He's not a commercial superstar. And that is what drives the price. You know, when Ozil signed a £350,000 a year contract, he isn't worth that much money. But the reason why he gets that is because he actually has a bigger social media reach than Arsenal. Now, to give everybody an understanding of social media reach, if someone like Ozil, someone like Paul Pogba with their reach, do you know how much it costs for a tweet from them if you were to pay them individually for a tweet? £200,000. So when you're Manchester United and you have a Paul Pogba or you have a Jadon Sancho who charge companies hundreds of thousands of pounds to tweet something or to Insta-post something, when they're sharing 10, 20, 30 posts a year advertising Man United products or advertising Man United sponsors products, United have got to remunerate them for that. Man United themselves will earn big from it, thus the sponsorship deals. But Dortmund know this. So Dortmund say, well, you've got to pay us the premium because it's going to make you more money at the end of the day. If I've got a product I'm selling you and I know it's going to make you millions of pounds, I'm charging you millions of pounds for it. I'm not going to give it away at what it cost. Or do you get where I'm coming from? But mate, listen, absolutely. Love what you've got to say again. We'll speak to you, mate. You take care. Listen, everybody who's tuning in, thank you very, very much. Do us that big favor, hit the like button, hit the share button, and everything else that comes along with it. The channel growth has been amazing recently. Love you all so much for the support you're giving us. Back tonight, Everton versus Liverpool, full watch along, fan phone in afterwards. Until then, take care of yourselves. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.